I'm going to be discussing preparing to cut a steek, and this is a checkerboard steek. It has 8 stitches, and it has 2 border stitches that are the same color as the project yarn, and then it has 6 stitches that are done in a checkerboard pattern. We are going to be cutting up the center between 2 stitches. So I have done a running stitch with a thin piece of yarn, and it is threaded through a sharp tapestry needle that has a larger eye, but the point is kind of sharp. It's not like a yarn needle. It's got a sharper point than that. We're going to be hand sewing this. So first thing that I did is I marked where I'm going to cut with a running stitch, just so that I remember where my cutting line is. Then I'm going to be securing it by hand 2 stitches away. I chose to do it 2 stitches away. So I've done the right side. The first thing that I do is I do a running stitch from the bottom to the top, and then I come back and do a back stitch from the top to the bottom. So I've already done this right edge. We're going to do this left edge. I'm going to start at the bottom. I know that I'm going to go in 2 stitches away from my center line, so I'm going to be in this column of stitches right here. So I'm just going to try to do a little wider running stitch so that I can see the yarn when I come back. Doesn't have to be really close together. Leave a little bit of the tail there, and then continue on up through the center of that column. I'll go underneath the bind off edge. Now I'm going to reposition my work so that I can come back down. I'm going to work, when you're working back stitch, it's easier to work if you turn your work perpendicular to you and work from right to left. So here's my line that I'm going to be working on. That's the column of stitches. And just, let's see, I'll just go in. Just need to get started a little bit. And for back stitch, I do the mantra of 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So I'm going to go 1 step back, and I'm going to come up 2 stitches forward, and 1 stitch back. Now I'm going to go 2 stitches forward. I'm in the light blue, so I'm going to do dark blue, light blue, come up, then I'm going to go 1 stitch back, which ends up to be in the same place that this point right here. So now I'm going to go forward 2 stitches, up into the light blue again, gently pull it, go 1 step back, 1 stitch back, 2 stitches forward, up into the next light blue, 1 stitch back into the dark blue, 2 stitches forward, 1 stitch back, 2 forward, 1 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 back, and then I'm going to go around the bottom edge, just another little loop to secure it. Okay, so I'm going to turn my work facing me again, and you'll see there's my center line. Those are my hand stitch secured. You can see what it looks like on the back side. And you take your sharp pair of scissors and you're ready to cut up that center stitch between the two center stitches. See where my line is? You just follow that line. Make sure that you don't have any other fabric behind you. You don't want to cut through anything else that might be underneath. But this is a steek that was designed to simulate an armhole. So you have some bind off stitches here. This would be the body of your work, and this is your armhole. And if you're going to pick up for your armhole, or you're going to seam your armhole in, you're going to seam it right between this border stitch and the body stitch, and it would end up going folding to the back like that. And then we will tack down the sides. So that is a hand reinforced steek.